to accelerate your Forcepoint DLP sales as a partner. So moving on. The Forcepoint is an innovative cybersecurity vendor, and the reason why they are becoming innovative because of the adoption to their portfolio and leading products that they are adding, and the strategy behind the Forcepoint as a vendor. And they're like, you know, they were started about a decade before, in 1994 as a net partners. They were a reseller at that time, and they were focusing on web security, and they changed their name to WebSense. And then in 2015, after many years of experience and working on the data protection area, the Raytheon was acquired the WebSense, and it becomes the in commercial world, the name known as Forcepoint. So the Forcepoint is 3-year-old, but if you see the products in that portfolio, they are well matured in each area, because you can see that now in the Gartner or independent evaluators Magic Quadrants, they are leading products. So I think everybody knows about WebSense, but they don't know about Raytheon. And Raytheon is one of the largest defense supplier in the world. And if you're interested about Raytheon and know about Raytheon, just go to YouTube and just find top 10 missiles. This is one of the interesting area for me. So I was very interested when I see that. So they're very well known in the military and defense, but they use the Forcepoint in the commercial world. And the Forcepoint becomes, innovative vendor because they are talking about the human-centric security, and they have clear differentiators, which we are going to highlight that during our webinar. And one of the key experience with Forcepoint, they were providing the web security at times for Facebook users, and it was one of the that is why WebSense was very popular in the market. And understanding the data loss protection, let's start it. And what is data loss prevention? Data loss prevention is a strategy for making sure that the end users do not send sensitive or critical information outside the corporation network. Some people there described as a software component that makes sure the data is not leaking outside or inappropriate people, but actually it's not limited to software. If you see our portfolio and current challenges in the organization, we have to make sure that all the channels, network, email, endpoint, and renewable devices, and especially nowadays there are a lot of companies moving into cloud. So the cloud-based data protection all are included in the unified data loss prevention solution. So today, data security is concerned about the regulation, meeting the compliances, and also protecting their intellectual property, the sensitive information of the organization. Now, the greatest challenge today is it's zero parameter world. That means when somebody says or organization says, this is my corporate network, but actually we have a challenge in differentiating whether it's inside or outside, because most of the people, they are now moving into public clouds like Office 365 and Box, Google Apps, and then also they are having private clouds. So as per the studies, about 50% is now moving into private clouds, but 21% is on the public cloud. This is where the, I mean, 21% is in public cloud is where the problem is, bigger and difficult to manage, because there are shadow IT concerns that you need to deal with. So zero parameter world is challenged because they have because of the significant increase of attack. You know that there are so many attacks on the network, I mean the industry now, and lack of visibility. And the challenge is, if you want to secure any product or system, any or company, that we need to see them traffic. So with the integration of cloud-based solutions, we have a great challenge in meeting this requirement. And disjoint security. Security tools are there, but they're not talking to each other, especially on the data loss prevention side. If you look at each product, Office 365, Google, Gmail, Google Apps, those products, they are providing a DLP features, but these are disjoint. Each console needs to monitor and implement the policies. It's not unified. This is going to be a big challenge to meeting the compliance, because the compliance needs 72 days, a maximum of the 72 days of reporting. If you don't report back, it is going to be a big problem, because there will be huge fines imposing now. So let's look at the other challenges that we have. As I said, it is disjoint, and it's not able to enforce the security effectively. This is also one of the major concerns in this area. So let's see how the attackers from outside, they can access our network and do data exfiltration or data leakage activities. In the year 2016, there's a person called Lockheed Martin. He was invented the kill chain. The kill chain is the concept of military, and it's a strategically assigned phases to get into the target and identifying the target. So same method adapt to cyber security to identify and do attacks. So in this, there are 7 phases. I just want to briefly go through these phases. So the first 2 phases is reconnaissance and lure. The idea behind this is to gather the intelligence and make the communication channel a trusted channel with the target. It could be an organization or a high official of the organization to find the information. There are many ways to get that information in these 2 phases. Interestingly, you will see this the method called social engineering tactics are used. Named a few is dumpster driving, quite interesting one. You go and check on the where the people dump their trash or garbage. Though you will find some information for the target there. And then shoulder surfing, when the target or user is typing the password or something, then they will looking on top of the, above the shoulder and trying to gather the password and things like that. So these are just few things that in this stage they are using really effectively. And in an advanced way, we might create a website which looks like the target interest. If the target is doing online banking, they might do a fake website and generate a URL and send it to the client, saying that that's their bank. And there are a lot of intelligence built into it, and we try to hide behind the actual access of the bank. So the next phase is like, trying to redirect the user after the user is accepted. The link is their online bank, as in my example, and they will try to redirect the user into malware site or user side where they can drop or there you can send the exploit kit and do a kind of assessment on the network and or the target and see whether any loophole is there. If the loopholes are found, the exploit kit will automatically installed or taking action to the next level. As optional stages, they might use a dropper file what the attacker want to do, or maybe they can establish establish the call home with the attacker. So the last step is the data theft, and this is where the all these stages are successful, circumvented the perimeter security, email security, web security, and then they'll come to the last stage to do what they want with the data. Maybe they will exfiltrate all the data or do some encryption on the data, whatever those things. So this is the standard way of getting into the network and do data exfiltration from the target. So one more thing that I have to add to this, if you see the faces, they're sending a phishing mail in lure and redirecting them to the web different URL where the malware or exploit kits are accessed. These stages need to be, they already have security, but now the attackers knows that they have these controls. In order to circumvent, they use certain tactics, advanced tactics like the link. At the time of the sharing the link, the malware or the malware is not contained in the URL, so they will wait until the user receives it, and later time they will try to execute it. I mean, after receiving the mail, it will be in the user's mailbox. At the time of the click, that malware will be executed. So in order to protect this, the Forcepoint email security, along with the URL sandboxing, they are providing the protection at the time of the click. This is very important. And in the data theft stage, the seventh phase, attackers know a lot of things about what we are using. So we need advanced tool that can go hide users' eye or the IT team's attention or tools, because it can looks like benign. So we have, as Forcepoint, they have several features adapting to this the product. Called one is DLP drip, and which is it's a low and slow attack where the data is leaking by small amount in a given time. So the accumulated transaction pose a big risk and loss. See, the other one is we need a tool like OCR, this optical character recognition software. I mean, it will use to identify the data leaks through the image files. So these kind of tools is required to protect the organization by data leakage. So moving on, what could be the business drivers? And you know that most of the organization, they have a lot of accidental data losses by users, and they don't have the right resources on the awareness, and because of that they might do accidental activities. So this is one of the major area of having a data loss prevention solution. And then also malicious data theft and accidental data loss again. And so malicious means people are now sourcing, providing resources for the hackers to do this in a nationwide. This is a big concern. And then the insider risk is another concern of, because that is also people with different intent. We are talking about that in a while. So, and also the major business driver is compliance and regulations. Meeting the compliance and regulations. We know that most of the organizations now they are working with their end users. Now these end users' data is getting regulated. The one concern, one latest compliance requirement is the GDPR, where it was in effect in last May. So it's going to be a major, because last 2 years, last it was there last 2 years, but it's in effect in 2018 May. So this is going to be a big driver for partners to meet the clients and discuss about it. So in the industry, there are so many data loss prevention solutions are there. But the thing is, because of the complexity of the problem, the data is everywhere and users are everywhere and behavior is many. So they are just going behind the information without focusing on the user. So because of that Panama studies, there are independent researcher on the data protection side. So they have said that is 27.7 likelihood of recurring material data breach in next 2 years, because because it's really complex, and the behavior or we have to understand the end users behavior properly without gathering a lot of information incidents, and it's not going to work. So there will be drawback in industry production, industry solutions available. So I'm sorry about that. And you know that already there are solutions, DLP solution features are provided by most of the vendors in public cloud vendors, and so these products have their own features, but it's not a full DLP environment, and there are another challenges. The policies for each cloud application will be monitored and implemented separately. So challenge is really high because the DLP is a complex subject. So having to meet all the requirements, the compliance requirements will be challenged within a time frame. So it's really challenging to protect the data and meeting the compliance in this with current solution or current trend of the data leakage. So next topic is how to identify the risky users and mitigate the problem. Before that, I just want to have a small break, because I can see some question is coming. So I would like to take the question slightly after the presentation. If you can bear with me for a moment. I'll just continue this few slides and then I'll take your question. Thanks. So how to identify and risky users and mitigate the problem. So the approach is, as for the studies, you see that the malicious external threats, yes, this is one of the known concern. As I was going through the kill chain, this is known and we have to prepare for that. But there's the biggest risk from the accidental loss, data loss, because this can go hide, and we don't give attention too much. Actually, although you see the accidental data loss is 27%, this is without the devices that people lose daily, and that is about 31 to 32%. It's coming up to 58% of the in total. So accidental data loss is a major concern in this area. So that's why the regulations are there to make sure that we will not do that, and the tools are there like Forcepoint DLP to make sure the user will not do, even they commit the accidental loss or activity, it will prevent the users from losing that data or going to the inappropriate people. So the risk is, the biggest risk is the this, and then malicious internal threats also there that we will be addressing with the same way. I mean, if we are addressing this accidental data loss, it will automatically cover others. But the malicious external threats, we already know that it is bad. So we can focus on that as a general practice. So when we are trying to capture the risky activities in the network, so we have to approach in all modes of data loss. So in the network, you can see the data in motion. So we have web and email appliances for that. An endpoint, we have agent running in there so that we can trap the users wherever they are. And we have a very, I mean, we can use the endpoint agent to do that. And data storage, and we can do discovery and enforce encryption based on the discovery. And also we can integrate with other solutions like information risk management solutions to do DLP. So this kind of these modes can be addressed to identify the risky users. And in the network, with the agent, we can track and trace the users using web and email, or these are actually endpoint web and endpoint email. So we can track the users using this an agent-based solution. And in the network, we have we can have network appliances to put the traffic through through those boxes for email and web, and then we can do certain blocks, certain activity. You can see the lower part. We can block them, and the email we can encrypt them, quarantine, or different channel has different different actions to take. So, so the other one is because of the cloud adoption, the most of the clients are moving to cloud, and they need to have the control on these cloud application and data. So they need to have visibility and control in the cloud environment. So using the CASB solutions, you can cover that cloud application. We can cover that. Cloud-based risk users, risky activities. We can monitor them and we can protect them as per requirement. So let's look at the comprehensive approach to identify the risk users. We can CASB will be used for the cloud apps, and then DLP endpoint for the endpoints. And the network, we have integration, we have appliance, and we can integrate with, I mean, you can integrate with existing appliance to find the risky users. And in the DLP, using DLP Discover, we can investigate and find out your intellectual properties any network, anywhere in the network, including the cloud. We can do discovery on the public cloud with the integration and support of the CASB tool. So let's understand what is Forcepoint DLP solution provide. So before that, I want to give you just brief understanding about the Forcepoint. Forcepoint having innovative strategy behind this Forcepoint product portfolio. They call it human point system. So as you can see, today we have to interact with many parties, our suppliers, customers, our corporates, and then public cloud, because our data is scattered everywhere. though they are corporate data, and the people from everywhere is connecting to this. So in Forcepoint, to they uh, bring up the concept of protecting the the concerned cybersecurity problem is to focus on true constant. One is the people and data. If you see the intersection of the this people and data, we have to understand different people having a different intent of towards the data. So understanding the intersection of people, critical data, and IP over the network of different trust levels is the concern. So the human point is the behavior of the people towards the data, and so this is where they have developed their portfolio. And the people have different intent. If you look at the in the organization, they have different kind of approach. It could be an accidental insider or compromised insider or malicious insider, where different behavior comes with that user. Even the external users, if you look at them, they are the hackers. They develop tools like, they develop malware to impersonate the insider. So more, as per the studies, 80% of the major attacks are based on credential theft. So they impersonate the insider. It could be coming under malicious insider category. So understanding the cyber continuum, meaning that different instances of this insider and their intent is the and providing the protection towards the cyber continuum intent is the human point that we are talking about. So the Forcepoint product portfolio is the human point system, where providing the protection towards this, the human point that we are talking about. So let's move into the human point system. So basically, they need to understand the rhythm of the people and the flow of the data. So this is where all the Forcepoint products focused on. So they work together and provide the human point protection using this human point system. So today we are talking about the DLP. So DLP got this human point built into it. Let me demonstrate that by with a few slides. Using Forcepoint, we are providing the comprehensive approach or unified approach to the DLP problem. Now, if you see the Forcepoint Security Manager in the center, this will integrate with all the DLP components, starting with the endpoint, and then the web and email security. And there's a protector email over here. So that protector email is the one that it can integrate with third-party emails. Say, for example, if your end user is working with Blue Code or some other Proofpoint or some other email gateway, so we can use the protector to integrate that existing email and web security, and we can provide the protection through DLP protection through our the solution. And also the CASB, which is a very what do you call that, because this is a very important topic where the data is resides outside of the organization perimeter, and but still using the CASB we can provide protection to all those cloud-based applications. So the human point system will provide many features, and starting with the compliance. This is the major area that we are focusing on, because this is the key business drive for the DLP solution. So a lot of people are challenged, and because it will take ages to find the incidents. Normally it will take months to find that whether they have breached, and that leads to heavy fines. So this is going to be a big concern. So as I was telling you that we are working on a cloud, endpoint, network, and discover to find out how information is reside. I mean, in the organization, sensitive information is there in anywhere. So that will give a comprehensive approach of the DLP solution. And let's talk about what are the features what we have. And so predefined policy support. If you see that we now, Forcepoint is focused on the DLP major concerns, major problems, which is how to provisioning for the DLP requirements. So each predefined template is focused on a specific area, like especially on the regulations. So you don't have to spend time in selecting your data and classifying your data. So you can easily start the operation in GDPR. Having GDPR policy in place in predefined, you can start the operations. And also we have not only GDPR, you can address the other concerns, like if you have if you want to know what are the data theft risk indicators, that you can get it through the predefined templates. Whereas normally the problem is like DLP solution, the sales cycles is like 9 months or more. But with the predefined support with Forcepoint, you can actually provisioning in the DLP operations within 1.5 months, and 3 months. I think we are able to we can close the project. It's a DLP operation is it's not a destination, it's a journey. So there are some practices need to be in place, but still with the Forcepoint DLP, you will be achieving that easily. So the capability wise, we have different capabilities to identify the data. So we have classifiers like keyword, phrases, dictionary based classifiers, and regular expressions like, if you have a proprietary code that we can have a regular expressions to detect that. And the machine learning, this circle, and above the circle, it shows that how accurate our technologies, and below is the normal general practice. So we provide the machine learning. We work on what is really our data is. We have to introduce that to the system, and then the DLP automatically take control of that data. And scripts are there, where if you have a unique pattern of data that you can give it to, we have a lot of predefined scripts. And if you want to have a specific requirement also, we can work on that. And fingerprinting is to match the exact content of the word file. And we have a unique feature, like we generate each sensitive document hashes, and we store it in our agent. So some of the competitors in the market, when the system is offline, they need to the fingerprinting capabilities, they will be limited, because they need to call home to find the right fingerprinting data, do the required action. But in Forcepoint, since we store that in the agent, we don't need even the system having the DLP features, even it is offline. So this is one unique feature when it comes to DLP endpoint. So human point is about focusing on the human behavior. So unlike the other solutions, we don't go behind the data, because we understand that it is a major, it's kind of a misguide to go behind the data and find the incidents. But I will show you now how Forcepoint is focusing on user and user behavior, and protecting that human point using the DLP. So this is the major advantage of Forcepoint solution. So let me drive you through a couple of slides and see how, after implementing the data loss prevention, how you start the operation. Now, the implementation of the DLP solution will take about 1 month or less. But when you start the operation, you can start even soon after the implementation, because you will gather a lot of incidents from the agents and web and email appliance and the CASB, but you will find this dashboard there. So you will see this this particular dashboard, which is collecting from the DLP incidents, and then we do analytics. It's an analytics appliance which is coming from, Raytheon. It's a powerful analytics that running on big data, and using that, they, out of 20-30,000 incidents, they generate, they give the daily basis this amount of incidents, risky incidents. So you can see the numbers here out of 20-30 incidents, and your DLP, the client can focus, utilize minimum resources for the start the DLP operation. And this is what we are focusing on with the DLP solution to provide to the end user. The end users should not burden with having many people to maintain this DLP solution. They can start with 1 or 2 for the large organization to start the DLP operations. So I'll just go through this DLP operations at the end of the DLP implementation, what you have to do. So the operator will see the screen every day, and you will see that daily basis this risky activities. So click on this bar, and then it will lead to the next page. You can see the risk number on the top of each incident. I just hide it because this data is from the real environment, and this the risk number gives you what kind of level of risk that exposed to this particular activity. So bound to this activity. Now there's a small circle in green. It was highlighted how many incidents are there. So after seeing this screen, if you want to review or investigate how many incidents are there, just click on that. That incidents, actually it's incident, you cannot see that, I think, but it's called number of incidents. So click that, and you will lead to the next screen. This is the incident management screen of the Forcepoint. So you can see each incident with the time in the front, time and date, and then the source from which user it has made, and then which policy and which channel, email or web, endpoint email or endpoint web, and the description of the attack, the incident, and the severity, whether it's so this kind of summarization is there. But the important thing is, this is like a, you from the small the icon on the top of the table, you can just filter out which person or which destination this incident happened. This is the beauty of it. And also Forcepoint has the capability to hide the information for certain privacy requirement of the organization, because this will gather many activities, confidential activities to the DLP operator. So to hide that, we can do that, hide the personal information to meet that concern. And then if you see the incident dashboard, you have many actionable data. So from what type of data that is in this incident, and which channel that it was done, and then this sources, from where the source, you will get the details of the user, because this is doing the tied integration with the Active Directory. And if you put the Active Directory details like manager information, his department, And from this screen, you see that on the take actions, you see the workflow and escalate button. So using this, you can assign this particular incident to a concerned party. Say if the DLP operator have very limited information to the concerned incident, then they can assign this to somebody who have the expertise to get an advice. Like most of the DLP projects, they will have data officer in place. So the data officer is like he will be having a bird's eye view on organizational information, and so that person can revert and handle this incident from there. And also you can escalate it to the manager. I'm sorry about the screen, I just taken from the real environment. So here it says escalate to manager or email to someone. So like that, you can send that information for further investigation. So, and also all the incidents can be saved safely for investigation later. So that will give you more information like who, how, and where, what information is in the incident. So align your operations to ensure regulatory compliance. As you know that predefined templates provide good support, and if you see your other solutions, other application in the market, they have very limited policies, and coverage of the countries are limited. So you cannot depend on that that kind of nature, that kind of application to provide comprehensive DLP solution. So what we provide is these numbers, the onto in red, the Forcepoint and the number of policies. This is keep on increasing with the upgrades of our product. So it is covering 83 countries right now, and immediately, as you see that incident report, you can immediately locate and remediate regulated data. And also it's a central control, even being it cloud, email, web, endpoints, all these things will be in one unified console. You can manage to implement the policies. And if you see that, unfortunately I'm not able to have this provide you that screen, but later if you interested in looking at it, if you look at the policy enforcement, it's a single policy you can enforce for all these channels that I was talking about. This is the beauty of the product. And it's really, the product is developed concerning the effort the DLP operation require, and minimize the TCO, and help benefit the DLP client with many features. So in the compliance area, GDPR is what we already talked about this, and it is supporting almost 28 countries and more. It's growing more, actually. The predefined templates provide full coverage of the EU General Data Protection compliance. So if you see the dashboard, and you will be highlighted with effective incident, so you have a way to meet your compliance requirements, and time you can respond to the incident and prepare and respond to the compliance regulatory requirements within 72 hours. 72 hours, yes. So we don't have to wait for long. And these dashboards are really highly, what do you call that, very effective when it comes to information search for the required stuff. And it is running on the big data, and you will reduce a lot of noise, because this has the powerful capabilities to do analytics and work on human behavior of the incidents. So that's it, my presentation. Now I just want to say a few things about Ingram Micro, how we can accelerate your business. And we have a strong technical, team who provide the services for technical assessment. And if your client have a lot of problems and they don't know where to start the cybersecurity, please consult this our team, and we will be able to provide many services. And you can see we provide the technical assessment for the clients, and there'll be a lot of benefits. Be in touch with us. And also the consultation services when it comes to DLP project, data classification is very crucial. And so we provide our expertise. We have the expertise to provide the data classification and consultation services. So in the training side, we have certified trainers to train, especially the certification like the CIPP and CIPM, and which is relating to data loss prevention projects, where the organizations require a person who have the capability to understand the concepts of data loss prevention and the compliance areas. So our team has the capability to deliver that training. And also we provide other trainings in the organization. So if you have a requirement, please be in touch with us. So let me now summarize. I think I'm open for the question. If you have any question, just let me know. And let Jessica take it from here, and let's see what are the updates that thank you very much.
Thank you, Marlon. So just for a couple of minutes, I'm going to give you the latest updates on what's been going on in cybersecurity, and then we can take any questions at the end. So just hold on for 2 minutes. So first of all, if you would like to watch any of our previous webinars, they are always available on our YouTube website, and this webinar will be available there. If you just go to YouTube and type in Ingram Micro Cybersecurity, you'll be able to find us, and please do give us a subscribe as well. Also, keep an eye out for the Cyber Bite, which is our newsletter, which will be going out tomorrow, and it's all about digital transformation. And obviously, if you ever want to get in touch with us, this is our number. We have a Twitter account, so you can always tweet us your questions, and we have a lot of information and resources available on the website, which is security.ingrammicro.com. Finally, thank you very much for everyone who came to visit us during GITEX. It was a very successful event. We had a lot of presentations and we had a lot of demos. If anyone would like to rewatch any of the demos that we had during GITEX, you can visit the specific website, which is ingramgitex.com, and you can see everything there again. As always, we have the public discovery reports, which are free for clients. So do get in touch with us and we will be able to help you with those. It's a really good way to help you initiate the security questions with your end users, and we'll be happy to help. And again, we do have a partner security questionnaire, which we can also help you identify your end user customers that have security requirements. So yes, thank you very much. If there are any questions, we will take those now. So just to let you know, these are the team members we have on the team. And so if you've got any questions or if you've got any marketing related concerns, you can always contact me. My details are there. But I think if there are no questions, thank you very much.